up on BOI Weekly. Our spotlight is still on the oil and gas sector with a focus on Waltersmith Refining and Petroleum Company Limited, a BOI-supported enterprise. We also have for you the contributions of Tascon Plastic Industries Limited to the continued development of the manufacturing sector, plus members of the Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions gathered in Abuja for the association's 6th Annual General Assembly. Thank you for joining us on BOI Weekly, a program that showcases how the Bank of Industry is driving the wheels of progress in Nigeria's industrial sector. I am Aramide Folorunshaw. One of the notable businesses financed by the Bank of Industry in the oil and gas sector is Waltersmith Refining and Petroleum Company Limited. Waltersmith produces diesel, household kerosene, heavy fuel oil, and naphtha. The company is a model in local content implementation, especially in enabling job creation, capital retention, industrialization, import substitution, and value addition to crude oil and gas resources.
Waltersmith Refining and Petroleum Company Limited is a wholly owned Nigerian company located at Ohaji-Egbema in Imo State, southeast Nigeria. From owning one oil field at inception 3 decades ago, the company has grown and expanded to several fields, including owning stakes in Renaissance Africa Energy Limited, which acquired the entire assets of the Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, SPDC, in March 2025.
We run a 10,000 barrel per day refinery. It's in 2 modules. The first module was the one we commissioned in 2020. The second module was commissioned in February 2026. So we doubled from 5,000 barrels per day back in 2020 to 10,000 barrels per day in February 2026. It's a modular refinery. It's not a conventional complex refinery. So to that extent, we only refine 4 products: fuel oil, naphtha, kero, and diesel. But our plan is to, as we expand capacity over time, at some point in the future, as we get to certain threshold in terms of capacity, we can then include components that can further produce things like PMS, which I guess which is in high demand in Nigeria. But for what we run today, the ideal slate, the ideal product slate is what we have, which is, like I said, fuel oil, naphtha, kero, and diesel. We have plans to convert the kero to jet fuel, and that plan will execute this year by making some modifications to the plant. Our objective was to create a platform that enables us to refine the oil domestically as a way of avoiding pipeline losses, But 5 years, 6 years down the line, by the time we commissioned the refinery, it was clear that this was going to be a mainstay of the group because losses were much higher than the time we conceived the project. So initially, it was a way of us avoiding the problem, but today we see it as a coherent part of the group that basically provides a complementary component to what we do on the upstream side. So basically today, we have the ability to export the oil and also sell domestically. And that provides us with quite a bit of resilience and endurance as a company.
A major partner of Waltersmith in its growth journey is the Bank of Industry. With BOI's financial support, the company's capacity for expansion is strengthened, catalyzing not just its refining capacity, but also creating direct and indirect employment opportunities.
When we did the first module, I wanted to scale. We thought, okay, we needed more concessional financing. I don't want to use the word cheaper financing, but concessional financing that supports what we do as a company that is growing the domestic industry. And of course, that's what BOI stands for. Helping companies scale, helping companies make impact, especially on the industrial side of things. And that made sense for us to approach the BOI. And I would say that came in handy. We were able to raise maybe about 50% of the funding we needed for the expansion from BOI. And that funding sits very well within our capital structure because, again, like I said, it supports the idea of industrialization from a refining perspective. So that's been the benefit of working with BOI on the refining expansion for our business. We have doubled capacity, and BOI was very instrumental to that. I would say we have more efficient financing structure as a result of working with BOI, because without that we would be paying a lot more, in finance costs. So it's like I said earlier, it sits pretty within our financing structure, and if we were to expand it further in the next few years, we would certainly look to work with BOI as well, because again, it supports the idea of what we're trying to do as Waltersmith. Our plants today employ about 40 people directly and another maybe 40 plus indirectly. They're all Nigerians. In the early years, we had an O&M company, but we made it clear to the O&M company that we wanted to execute an intentional knowledge transfer process whereby we do some sort of mirroring strategy where we have our Nigerians mirroring what they're doing, such that after a few years, they can literally take the plant and run with it. And I can say that we're less than a year away from achieving that. Today, the plants can run, with staff 100%. And by the time the O&M company moves on in the next less than a year, it will run 100% by Nigerians. And that goes into the heart of what we do as Waltersmith, where we're driven by the local content agenda. We observe all the NCDA regulations, and of course, as we expand, we'll look to also include that in our expansion plan. The whole idea is to empower Nigerians, develop local content capability and contribution to the industry.
With sustainability at the heart of its operations, Waltersmith is not just focused on its operations, but also on ensuring that the environment is protected alongside the people of its host community.
At Waltersmith, sustainability is key for us. It's a big part of what we do. We're a very responsible company, and we take it very, very, very seriously. How do we do this? Thankfully, there's expansive regulation around ESG, just generally, and sustainability specifically. And by observing all these regulations, we're able to meet the requirements. An example is we embed the best practices in the entire maturation process for our projects, from the start to the end. And this, of course, includes conducting EIA studies at the start of the project, conducting environmental impact assessments, and also social impact assessments as well, and developing what we call an ESMP, an environmental social management plan, as we execute our projects. And this has several components, from things around the environment, to things around your community, to things around sustainability. How do you ensure that your entire ecosystem is able to work with you as you execute the project from end to end? So we factor all of that into our operations. And the key part really is how we impact our community and how we engage with our host community. We have several programs and projects that seek to benefit the community. We have economic empowerment projects that we execute. We have things supporting education in our host community, and even a wider community as well. So a lot of these things really go into our overall ESG on the one hand, which is the commonly used term, but also just ensuring that we're able to impact our community and our overall environment, positively.
For Waltersmith Refining and Petroleum Company Limited, its immediate future plans are to commence 2 more phases of expansion, which will include the construction of 30,000 barrels per day condensate refinery and an industrial park, which will accommodate other gas-based firms.
From the southeast, let's head to the north central, precisely Kwara State, where Tascon Plastic Industry Limited's operations are built around manufacturing capacity and service support for customers in the construction, water infrastructure, agriculture, and industrial markets.
Tascon Plastic Industries Limited started with a vision to manufacture and supply quality plumbing and drainage materials across Nigeria and beyond. This dream was conceived and birthed by the company's chairman, Alhaji Abdulhakim Salahuddin. After its registration in 2013 under the Companies and Allied Matters Act of Nigeria, the company started its manufacturing operations with 2 extruder machines at Okeogba area, Gamo, Kwara State, with 2 members of staff as operators. To scale up its manufacturing capacity, Tascon Plastic Industry approached the Bank of Industry for loan facility. Over the years, the company has grown into a trusted producer of PVC pipes, water storage solutions, and sanitation products, serving millions of households.
It's been used to finance raw materials and some assets, but I think the highest was definitely for the expansion for the water tank industry, for the water tank arm of the business. We took that loan about 4 years ago. And then you can see how well we are doing in the water tank industry now in Nigeria today. We started here, the expansion started here in Ilorin here, and over the years, within that period, we've been able to even expand to the northern part of Nigeria, which is our Mina plant, to service the northern arm of Nigeria, to expand our reach to that area. But I can tell you, for sure, right now, for the Ilorin plant, I know we're doing about 5 metric tons per day. We've expanded again to the Mina plant with an advanced technology there, which is doing about 7.5 metric tons for us. So combined, we're looking at nothing less than 12 metric tons per day right now. That couldn't have been possible. It wouldn't have definitely been possible without, the help of BOI. And the flexibility in their system, so it helps your planning, it helps you compete with our competitors, which are majorly foreigners. We've been able to employ so many indigenous of this community around here. They work here. And they've had a good symbiotic relationship with each other. So specifically, I know right now we don't have less than 400 staff combined. Now, when I say combined, I mean both Ilorin and Mina. So you can imagine an industry employing that amount of people. There's no way it's not, helping with the general economy of the country and all that. So. Before the BOI loan, I don't think we were more than maybe 100 and something staff generally. So it has increased geometrically by about 200%, with the advance of the BOI loan. Visionaire has it in mind to tap into the entire ecosystem of the plastic industry. I don't think we've even done 20% of that. Okay, so we can only say, we'll continue to, expand and work together, continue in that partnership.
The chairman of Tascon Plastic Industries Limited is proud of the growth of the company so far, and even prouder of the quality of products being manufactured by the company.
For example, our own area, like a pipe industry, we make sure that we get local raw materials. We have quality control. We have machine that will test the pipe before we can sell it out. So our pipe is the best, and the tank is the best.
With the upward trajectory of Tascon Plastic Industries Limited, the company is grateful for the financial support from the Bank of Industry, encouraging other entrepreneurs to avail themselves of the opportunities being provided by BOI.
BOI loan is the cheapest loan you can get around for industries today in Nigeria, and the repayment cycle very flexible. They are listening, they understand. I mean, you can't ask for more. I mean, they've been of immense value to this company, and we're thankful to them for it.
Finally, on BOI Weekly, stakeholders in the development finance institutions gathered to discuss how to unlock more domestic capital for Nigeria's economic growth. We'll find out the details in our news wrap.
It's the 6th Annual General Assembly of the Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions. The conference, themed Unlocking Domestic Capital for Development Financing, had in attendance the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Industry, senior officials of banking institutions, and other stakeholders. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, in his remarks, underscored President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms and the need to mobilize Nigeria's domestic capital effectively.
The countries that will thrive in the coming decades will be those that master the mobilization of domestic resources. This is not because foreign capital has lost importance. It is because domestic capital is in fact needed to attract foreign capital. Investors rarely commit where citizens lack confidence. When domestic investors lead, foreign investors follow.
On their part, heads of development finance institutions emphasized the intersection of public policy and private enterprise in providing the long-term investments needed for national development.
Over the past 6 years, NPP has evolved into an important platform for collaboration amongst Nigeria's development finance institutions at the federal and state levels. Together, we have strengthened institutional partnerships, built capacity, shared knowledge and experience, and advanced practical solutions to some of Nigeria's most pressing development finance challenges. Today, that shared purpose has taken on renewed importance.
Development finance institutions occupy a unique position in the financial ecosystem. They are expected to do more than provide finance. They must address market failures, we heard just now from the Honorable Minister, lengthen the maturity of capital, support productive sectors that are underserved by commercial finance, and demonstrate that well-governed public and development capital can crowd in private capital.
During panel discussions, officials of finance institutions highlighted capital market dynamics and some of the access challenges faced by MSMEs.
We have a portfolio of about 16 SMEs now across essential sectors such as manufacturing, clean energy, financial services, healthcare, agri-processing. And we are one of the few funds that actually has a very intentional gender lens, where we only invest in businesses that are female-led, female-founded, improving access to goods and services for women, or have substantially a huge proportion of women in their value chain. So what have we found? We found that even though less than 2% of capital is going to female SMEs in Nigeria and across Africa, they are a better investment.
For our small businesses, many of them, to a large extent, are exempted from paying company income tax. So that's a big relief to them. I think the biggest one will be this blended financing that we need to actually institutionalize. Our small businesses, firstly, when they get the funding, by the time they start to transact with the funding, 6 months is gone. And then many times, the commercial banks want the funds in a duration that's between 24 months to 36 months.
Issues on financing gaps and systemic reforms for private enterprise growth were also discussed.
Recognizing the gap in SME financing and how do we close it. Over the last 8-9 years, we've lent about 1.4 trillion to over 1 million SMEs across all the geopolitical zones in Nigeria.
To round off the assembly, the development finance institutions reiterated their commitment to closing Nigeria's financing gaps and building a more inclusive and resilient economy.
To get more information on the product offerings of the Bank of Industry, do scan the QR code on your screen. And that's how we wrap up BOI Weekly. I am Aramide for Lauren Shaw.